wish that I had like Sheldon Cooper's memory, you know, Dr. Sheldon Cooper, and I could remember everybody's name, but I have to cheat and look at the attendance sheet and go from there. But tell us who you are and where you're teaching and what year of teaching this is for you. So if it's like beginning or you've been teaching for 10 years, whatever the case may be. We'll start, and you guys are actually in the front row. You didn't know that, did you?
So my name is Audrey Oliva. I'm teaching ELA 1 and 3 at Madera High School, and this is my first year teaching.
Okay.
I'm Cedro Contreras. I am the CT agriculture teacher at Madera Tech, and this is my first year teaching.
It's your first year, you said?
Yes.
Okay, that's making me feel better.
Hey, you gotta go observe him. You gotta love that campus.
Am I? Plus the ag.
Yeah, that tech.
I love ag.
I'm Paloma Lozano. I teach art at MOK Middle School in Madera, and it's my first year teaching.
Yay. I'm Emma Guzman. I teach art at Madera High School, and this is my first year teaching as well.
I mean, they just look like art teachers, right?
Yeah. Eclectic.
It's a tattoo.
I'm Amber Lindgren. It's my third year teaching. I'm with Shawanaki Academy. And I teach K through 12, and then also urban space science for high school and robotics for junior high and high school.
Okay, we're gonna teach you a new English word today.
Everything. I teach everything.
We're gonna give you a new English word, so it'll translate really well. No.
Yeah, but at 20 Academy, it's not too bad. Wait,
That's a
who's
lot
your
of
secretary?
preps. That's a lot of preps.
Janice.
That's a lot of preps.
Really?
My kids went to Madera.
All right.
Hi, my name is Veronica Garcia. I'm a Matilda Torres, and I teach Spanish. This is my first year.
All these newbies. Hi.
My name's Andrea.
I was pointing at you. I was
I
pointing
work
at you.
at Madison. I'm the DLI art teacher, and I teach K through 6.
Ole.
More art teachers.
Two Spanishes right there. One, two, right? Because she's DLI, at least she's doing it. You just in Spanish? Or?
Yeah.
Right? I told you that what happened the first day I was teaching. Did I tell you that story? I told you, no?
Oh, yeah, you did. Yes.
You didn't hear the story? First day of teaching in Planada. Y'all know where Planada is? Alternate ed. Trying to be cool like Randy Jackson cool, but I'm not cool. But Randy Jackson's cool. And he's all, I don't know, dog, that's a little pitchy. That's a lot. So I'm trying to welcome brand new students to my brand new first day. And hey, what's up, dog? How you doing? And I noticed they're all Hispanic. So I tried Spanish. Hey, ¿qué pasó, pero? What'd you say, Mr. T? Apparently it means, what up, bitch? In a bad way. I didn't know.
It probably made you a favorite pretty quickly.
We laughed. They appreciated the effort. But these are like, you know, kind of game banging kids and like, how cool this guy is.
Yeah,
You were their homie after that.
No, it was on that way.
I am Irma Regosta. I teach 2nd grade at Howard, and this is my 7th year.
7th year.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, so
I know. I did I was an intern, then I did the MIC program. Now I'm getting units to go on.
So my name is Lupe Daniel. I'm at Howard, 8th grade, and this is my 2nd year.
8th grade, they're not pre-adolescent, they're pre-human.
I have to say that it's a really good class this year
Good.
compared to last year.
Well, anything happened last year.
I have to say I have a really good class this year. Well behaved, they do their work.
The junior high teacher is saying that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wouldn't even really consider myself a junior high. I couldn't see myself teaching actually in a middle school.
Really?
It's a whole different environment at Howard or just at K-8 school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much so that we're going to build another K-8 school instead of the K-6 when you join.
Good. I love K-8 too. That middle school is a nightmare. So to skip over that. No, I'm sorry, but I taught it too. But it is rough on the kids. They get really.
The toughest transition actually is from 8th grade to 9th grade.
Yeah.
The second one is 6th to 7th. So.
I'm Leslie Hill. I teach Howard as well. I'm a 7th grade teacher.
You guys sat together on purpose. Then.
Yeah.
All right, go Bulldogs.
Hey, come on in. There's sign in and handout.
And treats.
And treats.
Can't forget the treats.
So, Jennifer Toski, I'm teaching 8th grade math at Desmond. It's my first year.
I love Desmond. I know a lot of people don't.
Very happy.
Hi, I'm Erica Spires. I am teaching ELA 3 Special Education at Matilda Forest. First year.
Juniors are good, but you have a tough assignment, huh?
Yeah.
And is Kayla working with you?
Kayla Collins, yeah.
Right.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexis. I'm teaching world history and mock trial at Torres.
Good.
My first year teaching.
And we got everything solved for you? And you get paid?
Yes.
The whole 9 yards?
Yes.
All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Luca Mejia and I am teaching world history and academic decathlon at Torres as well. This is my first year.
Oh, they gave you academic. Awesome.
Hello, my name is Nikki Mays. This is my first year teaching. I teach ELA and ELD.
What site?
Oh, Taurus. Yes,
All
Taurus.
right. And so when you teach ELD, I mean, do you speak Spanish as well?
No,
No?
I teach level 4, so they're pretty advanced.
Just a lot of scaffolding and stuff.
Yes, such as grades. Yep.
Hey, Ashley Dean. I'm at Torres as well. First year teacher, and I teach ELA 2 and ELA 2 honors.
I'm Cynthia Elm. I teach at Mountain West High School up in the mountains. I teach math and science and coding. My third year there, but my first 2 years were at Chewonki County. So,
All these mountain people.
I know.
Well, we're technically
Yeah,
family, the Mountain Oaks and Chewonki Academy.
yes.
Right, and one more.
We're like cousins.
2 more, sorry.
I already went.
You went because you went that way.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Iridian Chavez. I am at Thomas Jefferson High School, and this is my second year
What subject?
teaching world history.
World history. God, we got a lot of history.
I was subbing at TJ last year. I met you.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, do we have any elementary? A couple. 2. It's usually all elementary, and I don't. All my examples are not
We'll
as
get
good.
out our secondary. Okay. There's a complication that if you came to my induction orientation, you know, I talked with Google and I said, look, I just want one classroom. I want to make this work. They said, okay, do this, buy this domain, pay us the $15. I did all that. And then they said, oh, you work with their unified. Yeah. We can only give out one domain per school district.
Did you get your money back?
No, I lost $15. So, if you're Madera Unified, you need to join this class. I'm going to blow this up just a second. With your district email. And if you're not Madera Unified, you need to join this class, and we found out the hard way, with a personal Gmail. It can't be Yahoo or AT&T or anything like that. Let me blow this up a bit.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's not working.
The
Wait,
first link is
this-
not working.
this isn't right, is it? Because Jimmy.
No.
I think we have to put the new one in. We talked about it.
So this is for Madera Unified.
If you guys didn't already notice, pretty much every time you come in, I'll make sure there's some kind of question or maybe two. If you would get up and write whatever and it doesn't have to be right now, obviously, but we can read them as we go throughout the class, and at least I don't know, sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's not. Like payday, that's funny.
An actual job?
Yeah.
An actual check?
Right?
Fair to angry, silly.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, also building relationships with my teacher peer. Right, that too.
Right, not even students.
Oh.
This is actually the code, AN4, not a phone, but N4. That's what they gave me, and then here's the counting. I don't even know how you read that, but it's lucky because it's got 3 sevens in it.
Voila.
Yes. Did you try guess? And 2022 star capital M, capital exclamation point, capital C. Yeah.
Right behind you.
Behind you.
Oh.
She said, they're married. So she was like, hey, do you know, and she mentioned, I don't know her name. She's like, you know who she was? And I asked her, like, I just sent me a picture of you. And I know because she said that she saw you were in a gold and shit. Oh, one day. I don't know. Oh, yeah. How are your classes going? Really good. Yeah. I love my head. That's good.
Ancestry?
Yeah. She did say her name.
Well, now I like, what is it?
Yeah, she has to show me a photo. Oh, yeah. No, she just asked, like,
all the way down.
Oh, is that for your stats? And I was like, okay, I didn't know. I just
Is everybody logged in? Sort of? Steve, you logged in? All right. So,
I've been trained in the Fred Jones Tools for Teaching, and Jenny's been trained in another system called Time to Teach. And 5-6 years ago, we got together and compared notes, and we borrowed from Fred Jones, and we borrowed from Tools to Teach, and we mushed them together. That's a credentialing word. We mushed them together to create the Madeira Classroom Management Method, which, because we stole everything, we can never publish or sell. Or,
we think ours is better than theirs anyway.
right? But we did find that, except for the vocabulary, what we're going to talk about tonight in the next 9 sessions meshes really well with PBIS. So if your campus or site or district is strong on PBIS, we're going to be reinforcing a lot of that going forward. You'll have to, though, translate sometimes when you hear somebody talking to Peeba's talk and what we talk about. It may not be the same vocabulary, but the intent and the actions that we're going to teach you are the same. Okay? There are 10 sessions. We gave you a calendar tonight. The sessions are 2 hours, and we're pretty good about starting on time and ending on time. We'll value your work. I get that you're tired. I get it. And by the way, there's a reason for that, and we're going to address it. We hope that by the time we get to December, you're not as tired as you feel right now. So we're going to talk about that. But having said that, I value your time. We're going to start on time. We're going to end on time. I know that getting here from the mountains at 4:30 is like a challenge. We'll get you here when we get you here. And some have said, some of your friends, hey, can you have it on a different night so I can attend? And I will be honest, I don't have the capacity for another night. So for tomorrow night, I have individual learning plan and journal writing training. I have to go to Course Gold on Wednesday night. Nobody wants to meet on Friday. You want to come Friday night?
Nobody wants to.
We tried that. During the pandemic, we tried Friday nights and we had 4 people come, so we know that Friday night's not an option. So, if you have friends, if you get real excited about what you hear tonight, which I hope you will, and your friends go, gosh, I want to do that, they can audit. They can join the classroom. We've got the video. We're recording as we speak. You guys got to be careful what you say. Howard, people, we know you from Howard. We can trace you back. We'll record it. We edit it a little bit so it's 30. Because anyway, and then we'll throw it in the classroom. And so somebody that wants to audit can watch the video and they get all the same handouts because we'll put all those in the classroom along with our slide deck that also goes in the classroom. And so somebody can get most of the experience. But I will tell you that what we're going to do is a lap. We're going to get up out of our seats. I'm going to make you do some really goofy things, and you're going to look at me like,
well, it's all for,
I mean,
yeah.
You're going to look like, I don't know, Mr. T, this isn't going to work for me. And we'll laugh, and you'll find that if we can do it here, you'll be able to do it with your students and the principal's work. Okay. I heard some of you are interested in the units.
Yeah.
Here's the rules. You can miss once, watch the video, do the homework. Otherwise, the university is requiring so many hours to get so many units. We're offering 4 units, so that's 60 hours. 20 of them come from being here, sitting in the seat. And you have the calendar now. I think we're not meeting every week, about every 3rd week or so, all the way into April. There's 20 hours of homework. So there's already a couple things that we are going to talk about tonight. We'll show you. And then tomorrow we're going to add into the classroom and have you do it before you come back next time. And 20 hours is actually you using this in your own classroom and then bringing back some data and talking about that. Okay? That adds up to 60 hours. We're also going to send Jenny out to your classroom. So she's going to come observe, specifically looking at the classroom management things that we're talking about and coach you up. That's the whole point. She's not there to criticize or knock you down. I promise that she won't run to your administrator and
I don't tell administrators anything.
She didn't like administrators, so she keeps her mouth shut. She says, you're on the dark side and I don't talk to Darth Vader, so away it goes. All right?
My administrators hated me, so.
We will make the units available to you like the second to last or the last session. And it's deliberate. So first of all, you don't have to panic about coming up with your $300 now and $75 a minute. But also, our experience has shown that some of you are going to drop. And boy, I'd sure hate for you to pay and then have to deal with the University of San Diego trying to get your money back. So we'll do it at the end rather than now. But just anticipate that if you want the units, it's $300. This class is free. You're welcome to come and be a part of this. We're not going to charge you, but the University of San Diego will charge you for your units. And next time you come, we'll have your name typed out on the sign-in sheet based on tonight's attendance. So just sign in. That's how we know you're here. So it's real critical that you sign in. And let me know if you're going to be absent. We'll make sure that we mark that accordingly as we keep track of everybody's attendance. Any questions so far? That's just kind of.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure it was still second base or.
No.
All right.
Did you do the sign in and all that?
Sign-in sheets, yeah, over there. We'll have your name out there. There's always agendas and handouts. Help yourself to drinks that are in the refrigerator. There's water and soda. And then there's always a few little snacks. And I'm jealous because I saw somebody eat like a taco from Taco Bell or something. You can bring your meal if you want. Eat. It's all good. We totally get it. All right. These are our components. We've actually expanded one and added social and emotional learning. So we're going to talk about that later on. We're going to start with your instructional environment and then move right on into classroom expectations. We found that there is a strong correlation between really good lesson plans and classroom management. The kids are enjoying what you're doing. They'll do what you ask them to do, and there's less issues to deal with. We're going to talk about social and emotional. What we are going to really kind of tell you is to assume that every one of your students has some sort of trauma in their life, and that may be a reason for some of the outbursts.
Well, we know they were all in trauma because of COVID. So we know that now you're dealing with every kid who's been traumatized.
And then we have some ways of motivating your students and keeping them accountable. We put that at the end on purpose. There's some really good stuff in that last unit that really works well, but it will only continue to work if it's layered with things that we're going to teach you at the beginning. And the temptation is to go right to this unit and grab those two techniques that we're going to show you and throw away everything else. And they'll work for a while, but then after a while they fade away. So we want to put everything into a system. So there are 5 components that we're going to work through. All right. Robert Marzano. Effective teaching and learning cannot take place in a poorly managed classroom. If students are disorderly and disrespectful, and no apparent rules and procedures guide behavior, chaos becomes the norm. In these situations, both teachers and students suffer. All right? Next, your turn?
Yeah. Moving anybody? Okay, so a lot of people, when we say we're going to talk about room and environment, like that it matters, and a lot of people are like, what do you mean what do you mean it matters? Of course, I did beautiful bulletin boards and I did all this really pretty stuff and gorgeous little, probably spent $200 over at GH. Is that what it is? UW, thank you, good God. I haven't been gone that long. And, we all go and that's like our pride and joy, right? To set up our room so it looks so cool when people come in. Even high school teachers, we don't do all the cutesy. Well, some people do. But the cutesy boards, but our room and its ambiance means a lot to us, right? But I'm not always so sure that we focus on the right things. And so rarely do we realize that what we contribute to our students, behavior issues, or learning difficulties. When you think about it that way, think about some of your problem kids that you've already identified. Or there's probably a better word. Challenging students. I didn't say bad, so. So think about your kids right now, because I knew most of this and I thought about this, but my need to be different overrode some of my logic. Furniture can influence your students' behavior. What are we talking about?
Seating arrangements.
Seating arrangement, definitely.
Types of chairs, seats.
What?
Like the different types of seats, yeah.
Yes. You have the kind that are connected, which of course is always mortifying to me for the heavy kid that has to you know, get in there like those. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Those are my nightmare. Even when I was skinny and I was an athlete, I'd walk in and I was tall. So again, I had to do that. Believe it or not, I was taller than I am now. But if you think about that, I know a lot of people talk about alternative seating, right? Kind of a creative idea type thing. So think about how all the furniture, the other thing is if you're a science teacher and you have those big solid lab tables that you can't move, okay, that's going to create some challenges for you. My best friend's a science teacher, and she's not nice. And so she has
normal.
not at all. And she has like those science things, those tables, that she won't even let the kids squirm. And I'm like, well, that's not fun. I mean, we used to go and turn the gas on and do all that stuff, which they can't do now, thank God. But, you know, that was the stuff we did when I was a kid. And then as soon as they brought out the things to not amputate, dissect, thank you. Yeah, I used to just, I'd run, I hated it, so furniture, classroom layout, I think you mentioned the desk and the arrangements. You're going to find, I mean, you probably have a great understanding of how that can affect things, but I think we're going to give you some ideas that might kind of push that forward a little bit. Colors, think about all the colors in your room right now. Okay, I love color. I loved it so much. I taught Abbott and English. And my seniors, when I got them as freshmen, I told them that at the end of the year they could pop one of these tiles out and paint it however they want. So for 4 years, they thought about what they were going to put on their tile. And we popped them. They weren't plastic like this. They were probably asbestos, but whatever. And we popped it, and I laid it down, and every one of the kids got to do their thing. Well, in the beginning, you know, there was one here, one there. But after about 5 years, my entire ceiling was full. And to me, it was cool, right? The kids got to design this, and this is them. They had massive ownership of my classroom, too much so. And so, you know, I got in trouble with principals and all, not because of how it could affect the students. I got in trouble because was I violating a fire law? But when the fireman came, the fire chief, he loved it. And he just said, tell me that it's, what's that?
Non-toxic.
Yes, the poster paint. I can't think of the name of it right now. But I'm like, what is it?
Sharpie.
Sharpie. Tempera?
Tempera. Thank you. I said, oh, it's all tempera. None of it's. But my first group, I did kind of have some of the bad things. But anyway, so thinking, I thought that was so cool. You walk into my room, it's busy. Not so much, and you'll see why in a few. Temperature. I know when I was in high school, if it was hot, I was asleep. Done. Well, I slept all the time anyway, but really bad when it was hot. And so you got to watch them, or if you have them after lunch and it's warm, you know, and they're doing this. Yeah. So we'll talk about some of that, but acoustics. I had a class, they stuck me in purgatory. It was a music hall, and so it absorbed. It absorbed everything. So my classes, it was great when they were doing group stuff and it was loud. But when it came to like me talking, my teacher voice didn't work so well in there. It seemed like, you know, if they were over there, they couldn't really hear me. It was a big, very big room. Acoustics, think about if it's very hollow and you have hard floors, what can you do to like temper that noise down a little bit? There are ways, but, and lighting. You know, if there's a light blinking, that probably half your class is going to ruminate on the fact that that light is blinking, right? Miss T, are you going to get it fixed? Hey, Miss Taylor, when are you going to get that fixed? I don't know, but you know, they're going to worry about that. Or their light is out. Somehow that's a reflection of how you feel about them, right? You put them in the dark. So lighting can drastically affect. This is kind of, we were going to do something before this. Can't remember now. Okay, so you have this handout, just so you have it at your, if you want to write something on it, but I found this was incredibly interesting when I first started doing this. 25% It can improve a pupil's performance, which also generally hand in hand goes with behavior. So if a student can get 25% better because of something you do, right? That's less than they have to do, and they're not even going to know that what you're doing is affecting them. It's kind of a science, really, right? So what they're saying is how we design our room enhances concentration. Clearly not if you were in my classroom, because there was so much chaos going on above them. Like as a student, I would have sat there the whole time like, oh, that's stupid. Oh, that was cool. You know, that would be me, and that's what they're doing. And if any of you are ADD, you totally know what I'm talking about, right? Anything to distract. So I did my students a complete disservice, even though I thought it was very creative. It supports learning. That makes sense. If you can get better behavior, it's going to increase learning, right? Inspires students, improves behavior, and you get better results. We had a lot of seeds. How about this? I'm going to have that table and that table. I want you to discuss what parts of classroom design would help enhance concentration. And middle row, you might just have to turn around and yak with them. How does it inspire students? Like, what in the world? Why does it matter where I put a desk? How is that going to inspire my students? Okay. Wait, maybe not all of you. Back row, you have that. You guys are going to have supports learning. You guys are going to be improved behavior. And you two will be better results.
So I have yeah, so like the best part is that I think some of you can say my first class so like they can't yeah, and like so I know what the students say, I have a really low plan there.
I'm only had one class.
Oh yeah, I'm so
I don't know her mother. Do you want to two kind of like me or I have this one class where I have all the students in their shirts. It's just three. So the Islanders, they become coaches. They coach against each other, but then when they I went up to the place, like right next to the softball. She said, you coach the body. My daughter, and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, right. Her mom's a little.
Got about 30 more seconds.
I know. She's 11.
I did 4-H with her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
She just likes being a grandma now, doesn't she? So Janet, she's the nicest person I've ever known. So the fact that she hates me. So her husband's more like
Alright, over here. How does classroom design improve? How does it enhance concentration? How does classroom design enhance?
So I think sometimes teachers can go a little bit overboard with what they put on the wall.
Right.
So I try to like not keep it bare, but like really like do a little like simplistic or very like concentrated. So that way like students aren't just like staring at a million things on a wall and like gazing out and just not even paying attention because there's so much going on. So yeah.
There's a big contrast. This is going to be totally sexist, and you can boo me off the stage if you want. But if you walk into a classroom, you can tell if a female decorated versus a male decorated.
Oh, coming from subbing, I 100% knew.
My dorm room in college was bare.
Hey, not mine. That's my classroom.
It's a guy's room, if you don't know, ladies. It's like this, because you can tell this is a guy's room.
Yeah.
And they might have a picture of Michael Jordan on the wall that says, read a book.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no calendar. There's no paragraph helps. There's no pictures. There's no cute little wedding pics from your friends. There's no personal space. Girls, oh my gosh. You walk in and it's color coordinated, and they've got raw boards around the calendar, and around the student work, and bulletin announcements, and the Williams Act. Oh, and over here in their personal corner, they got all their friends from when they were in college. There's the bridal pictures and all that.
until you get older, and then it's every kid's picture that was ever given to you. It just starts stacking.
There's also a big difference between elementary and secondary. Oh my gosh, I am so glad I didn't teach y'all, because y'all do 5 seasons a year. You do summer, fall, and autumn, and winter, and spring. I mean, guys, we're just doing baseball, football, and basketball season. We've got number lines, the letter lines, the cursive letters, the printed letters, the multiplication charts, student work, things hanging up the ceiling. They've got a tree growing in there made out of paper mache. There's a big difference. The classroom environment, though, plays a part, and we can have to strike a balance, is what she was saying, between too little and too much. You had something you were going to say, and I interrupted you.
Well, at first we have a red wall in there, right? And it's red, and it's like drives me crazy.
School colors.
Yes, but so I tried to balance it out with like brown because I'm like the red. It drives me crazy, so I can only imagine how they feel some days. So,
We're going to talk about color choices in a moment.
You might want to
And
show
we're
it to
gonna-
your admin.
Right?
We do research and you have the research of
We're
what
gonna blow
red
you up.
does.
We
So
got-
they like
I
mentioned
know that
They
because
mentioned this, so.
yeah, the red. It even. I'm just sitting there like.
So they need to go in and paint them.
Yeah.
Oh, they do. They just touch up the red.
Yeah. Also, at Torres, you have 2 screens, which is nice, but for classroom layout, it's very hard. Okay, sitting some kids here, and like, I would like it if all my kids face the same way. That's, you know, but like having the 2 screens makes it a little difficult because I feel like sometimes a kid that's like way over here can't see, and I'm trying to like make it angled, or a kid over here bothers this one, so we have to like.
So IT set it up, not teachers.
Yeah.
And the horrible thing is the red wall is the front.
Yeah, but the front. Consider the front.
Literally,
every day.
Somebody has the memo on that. We're going to talk about that. And then you had enhances concentration. Is that?
No, this whole group did.
Inspire students.
Who had the Inspire students?
The back row back here. The wood. I call that the church row, right? You sit in the back.
Wait, who had supports learning? Okay.
You want to do that one next?
Yeah.
Support learning.
So basically, we talked about posters on the wall can distract. We also talked about collaborative seating. So how you pair your students, also strategic seating, highs and lows, talkative versus not talkative, strategic seating plans, and also pairs to groups.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
How you can make it more collaborative, and then they can discuss more.
I think it relaxes them too. Like they're less, unless you have the kid that, you know, bounces everywhere. But for the most part, when they get to sit with their friends and get a little gossip in and then work, you're going to get more out of them.
Inspires.
I know, and I teach 2nd grade, so like creating a welcoming class. I know, like this. I know you said student work. My students, if we put something on their student work, they're like, "Why are you covering up my work? Why do I want this?" I'm like, "But we just did a paragraph. Let's add this new one on here." Oh, okay. I guess you can cover it up, but they're inspired to do better because they know that they're growing by the.
And you got back to school night in next week, right? So you know, mom and dad are coming and looking for that.
It says a lot that the kid was upset though, because that tells you that they notice it and it means something to them. And you know, as a kid, I never cared if my stuff was on the wall, but you realize now, you know, I had lots of validation at home. A lot of these kids don't have any validation or very little or negative, and so by you putting that up there, it says this is good. Have you seen the commercial? I think it's a commercial. Maybe it's a TikTok. I don't know. Where I might be a TikTok. And the little kid comes home and he has all his artwork and he says, "Look, Mom, my teacher said I was an artist." And you know, they were just normal pictures, but Mom was like, "All right." She put them up, and the fact that his teacher gave him that one little bit of, "Look at how fantastic these are." He's never going to forget that. You know, never. And that's such a powerful thing. We don't even realize how important that is when we put those up like that.
That reminds me when I went to the dentist. My dentist said to me, "You're perfect." I said, "Would you call my wife and tell her that?"
She would have hung up on him.
Improves behavior. Do y'all have that?
We had that one. We were talking about how, like, depending on what your classroom is set up for, you can kind of help or hurt the behavior issues in your class. Like for me being a middle school teacher, I can't have anybody facing away from me, and I can't have any blind spots in my room. Meaning, like, if there's a spot in the room where they would be invisible to me if I was in a certain spot, they're gonna find that right away. They're gonna find that before they find their own seat on the seat chart. You know? So.
And all of a sudden, you're gonna see smoke coming up, and they're gonna be vaping back there. Yes. I didn't have to deal with vaping, so that wasn't around when I was a teacher. Promise it wasn't that long.
And then, you guys have lots of better results. Tell us about that.
We talked about just kind of the same things of too much could be a little distracting, and if they're not distracted, that means they're most likely paying attention. If they're paying attention, they get better results in the classwork. And the other thing we talked about is just the different formats for seating. Like they all have their own benefits. Like maybe putting pairs or groups, they can have someone to talk to if they didn't get a certain part of the lesson. So you don't have to address every single question. We can help each other. So that's another way that maybe the way you design your class can look for better results.
Let me ask my sped teacher.
Me.
I was like, I know her. Sped teacher. For an autistic child, what kind of a schedule does he or she need?
Structure.
Structure. What kind of environment does an autistic child need?
Honestly, I have one, and he is best alone without somebody around him.
Not a lot of stimulus. Okay. So, I haven't been into your rooms yet. I will. And I wanted to ask the question and make you confess, but we don't trust each other yet, so we'll get there.
I'll confess.
Just do it. Just do it.
All right. How many of you have clutter lying around your room? Clutter.
No, decoration.
Yes.
Stacks of stuff.
Like,
it's
centralized. Well, you know where it is, but
let
would
me-
somebody walking in think it's cluttered?
No, it's just my desk.
Well, Jenny's going to walk in and she's going to help kind of coach you up on that. Here's what we know about clutter.
Should have seen my desk.
It causes anxiety. It causes anxiety. And what's interesting is that people who suffer from anxiety often live in cluttered environments.
It's because of our kids.
It's because it's overwhelming to get through that.
And then
so
once
you
it
just
gets
keep.
to a tipping point, it's even overwhelming to try to clean it up.
Yeah.
Right? Where do I start? Okay? So, what I'd like you to do when you go back to class tomorrow is try to see your classroom through a student's eyes and not your eyes. Because the truth is, you've designed the room for you.
And what you think they're going to need.
And I want you to think through, what do my students need? And do they see stacks? I'm even looking at my refrigerator and I got all my sodas up there, right? Ready to go. But that's clutter, right? It should be put in a nice place and put away. What we know about our autistic children is also true for our gen ed kids. That clutter causes anxiety, and anxiety causes behavior problems. You may not be able to control the red walls of Torres. I could.
You can't cover them up with like
sheets.
Oh, you'd be up there all day.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
The whiteboard is
I'm just saying that you can't control the clutter. And I will tell you something else that if you didn't figure this out. If you have piles, there's a very good chance that at some point you're going to lose some student's assignment. And then you're just going to give them a B and pretend like you graded it. And it turns out that this kid is the AP kid who has a 4.3 GPA and always turns things in. And you're going to say, I graded it. Look, you got a B. And the kid says, I never get B's. You didn't grade it. You lost it. And you know deep, right? Clutter will eliminate that. You've got to get organized. It's got to be a priority for your student sanity as well as your own sanity.
There's a whole thing out here about clutter.
So, I wanted you to be aware that clutter can be an issue. We're also going to talk about how to arrange your seating and in a moment how even to manage your classroom with your physical presence. But we're going to let Jen go and talk a little bit more about color.
So, real quick, I was thinking about better results. That was you guys, right? We were talking about posters. I know that with high school kids, which most of you are high school, that they're competitive, right? So I've had teachers who posted grades by student number, not by name, and they could see, and each class competed. Like my English classes, I never was organized enough to do that, but you know, I saw classes where they did that, or they did the like they had a team. Each table was a team, and they'd have a competition, and there'd be this pretty bar chart showing who was ahead. And you wouldn't even have to put any scores or anything if you did the class or the table that way, right? You could just put who was ahead. Anyway, the competition is sometimes beneficial, and I was thinking about the better results that might come into play. This one you have also. It has, clearly I spelled these, I didn't make these. And you guys can't see very well, but you have the handout. It basically talks about how environmental, which of course is what we're talking about, how they affect our students' learning. So when you talk about like flexible layouts down here, we talked about a little bit about that. And then it reduces fidgeting. I think that really comes into play when we were talking about breaking up having the duo, having the group, having the foursome, whatever, getting them to participate in different combos kind of takes away some of that boredom. It increases their attention span and encourages a healthy posture. Somebody was talking about having, you guys, we're talking about having the two and your kids have to turn all twisted and stuff. Yeah, that's a problem because they're not old like some of us, and like if I stay turned that long, I'm literally stuck that way, for hours. So what about our students? They're just gonna get tired. They're gonna get tired of turning their head a certain way. So if you have that, and they're like turning their heads the whole time, you can always do something in between to get them up, get moving, do something crazy, I don't know, make them dance, do something stupid. Things that high school students think is stupid, but they love doing it, that kind of stuff. Color, we're going to go into that more. Comfortable temp. I don't know what you would consider that though. Like, is that cooler? Is that warmer? Is it by the teacher, or do you do it by watching the kids? Like, ultimately, I'm going to be in that room all day, so it's going to be set to what I like. And the size and shape of the room impacts how we can talk to our students and reach them. So think about your layout right now, and think about if you're able to, are you able to reach that kid in the corner? Not verbally, but how quickly could you get there if there was a fight, a seizure? I mean, how quickly, and I know a lot of us are very crowded in our classroom. But you have to consider that all the time, because it's not their fault we're crowded. So we have to still keep them safe. So keep that in mind. Light, we know that can cause headaches, right? Lack of concentration, headaches like she has right now. Any comments about this? I love the graphic. I have ADD, so I'm like all over the place. Clear the clutter. Steve already talked about this. Thankfully, I had TAs that I had for 4 years because they were my advocates, and they would come in weekly and say, Miss Taylor, can we clean your desk up? Sure. Sure. Whatever. Any of you guys advocates? Nobody. Awesome. Where'd you go?
Oh, it's
And they had Abbott over there? Nice.
Yeah, we had it in Clovis too.
Yeah, Clovis has it at all 4 campuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Central does too. Well, they did. First of all, I love that picture, but let's talk about, like, what do you think? This doesn't give anything away yet, right? No. What colors do you think, we talked about red, what do you think that evokes emotion-wise?
Alertness. Chaos.
Chaos, anger, alert, what?
Hunger.
Hunger?
Yes. Red and yellow.
Really?
That's why like McDonald's are red. McDonald's is red and yellow. We're cheating. We took color theory.
Yeah.
Good, you'll have a lot to say.
Yeah. That's why like McDonald's and a lot of fast food have those underlying tones and like those underlying shades because it increases like hunger and alertness.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. McDonald's.
Isn't that crazy? I never even
my lunch today.
But we're cheating. Yeah.
No, but do cheat. Yeah.
This has always been interesting to me because the first time I learned about color was like in high school, and it was the opposite. And we learned it like in history, with like world leaders. They always wear a red or blue tie because it signifies like you're powerful. You're the one in charge.
Oh yeah.
And like so, I was like, for me, I was like, well, I want red or I want blue because it's gonna help. People think they're confident, right? But I hear it all the time in classroom. I'm like, no, it's the exact opposite. You don't want, at least red. You don't want red. Blue, I'm not so sure. Maybe, I don't know.
Blue is
holy color. Right?
Yeah.
Blue is a holy
Oh dear God. Orange is too.
Blue and white.
Orange and black is too.
No, orange and black is Halloween and scary.
Yeah.
And they're scary. They're scary this year. Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah.
So.
I'm affiliated.
And you can't say anything. They're that good. I used to give him a bunch of garbage, but I can't. So when you think about red, we talked about red. What else? Like, what color are some of your reading areas? Like, do you have reading areas?
Yeah,
libraries? Huh?
Yeah,
School and electives.
Right?
Brown.
Not kindergarten.
Yeah, brown bookshelf. Have green plants, so like green.
So earthy.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Awesome.
I'll
Earthy.
that red.
I've seen pastels. Like pastels.
Pastels?
A lot of, I seen it when I used to be a sub. A lot of English teachers have like pastels, like suave, lower mellow colors.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orange and yellow are like to support like creativity and like ingenuity, like orange and yellow.
See if this proves it, otherwise it might be wrong.
Green?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what green is, like off the top of my head, but
We'll see.
we can look it up.
So, color affects brainwaves. Why am I drawing a blank right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Autonomic nervous system, hormonal activity,
Yeah, refreshing your piece.
and stimulates emotions. So, those last two, hormonal activity. Those of you that have middle school age kids, oh yeah, raging.
They're like toddlers, but with a bunch of hormones.
Yeah.
Green
And they
is
smell awful.
like
Oh yeah, that's why I have the diffuser.
green is like abundance and like peace and like tranquility.
Oh, I love green. Yeah, you don't. I taught my first year of teaching. Bless you. Was junior high, and I had 7th and 8th, and this is before. Bless you. There was an NCLB thing, and where the kids had to have, like, this the English learner program was not where it should be. So when they hired me as U.S. and World, but I taught EL, and I have very limited Spanish. My grandmother wanted me to be fluent, but it just never happened. And those kids, when they come back in from lunch, oh, I'd want to throw up. All of them. They'd come in from, and they'd have played, right? They played at lunch. And they don't care what they smell like. They're junior high. And they come in and you're like, oh dear God. And then you know that the other people in the classroom are like, oh my God, really? But hormonal. That's what all that comes from. And those kids, you know, they're going to be moody too, right? Hormones raging. So 1 minute they're super fine, and then the next minute they're having a meltdown. I was standing at my door when I was subbing the other day, and I looked across the way, and this girl is sobbing, and her friend went over to hug her, and her leg was shaking. I'm like, this girl's a mess. So I kept saying, do you guys need anything? Do you need help? And her friends came in later and said she's having a panic attack. And I was like, I bet you an hour ago she was probably fine. And then something set her off, and you know, they're hormonal. So, you know, everything is huge. Fights are huge. New friends are huge. New boyfriends. And they're so excited, and you go, how long have you been together? 3 days. I'm like, yeah, that's fun. You guys even hold hands? But I don't even And you know, have you ever noticed if you have teenagers, when they get on the phone, and they FaceTime, right, even though they just saw the people, they FaceTime and they walk all over the house, and they won't even be talking.
That's mean.
They're just walking around, and then they'll come up and talk to you. Mom, can I go to, sure. And I'm like, are we talking to someone on the phone? Like, they'll be on the phone for 2 hours and maybe say 2 sentences. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And they're like, but we have them there if we need them. I'm like, oh my God, whatever. So, as humans, we react physiologically and psychologically to color. Think about doctors' offices, what they're usually
Blue and green.
blue, green, and earth tones, right? My watch was this one. There's one you're going to see in just a second of what a prison or juvenile hall did.
Oh, white or gray.
Huh?
White or gray.
At the juvenile hall?
Is it no?
No. Depending on how the brain is stimulated, a person can be rendered happy, angry, sad, or anxious. I've noticed as I get older that like certain shows that wouldn't have really altered my mood, I can watch some shows and I'll be like, oh no, can't handle this right now. Way too heavy. Or, you know, I'm in a bad mood and something's funny. Well, no, I'm not in for that either. So if you think about that, we're able to recognize that. But they're not. They're in their, you know, their bubble. So think about how emotions affect you and then maybe regress it 10, 5 years or something. this is the pretty one you have. This kind of tells you, and you guys can tell me if it's right or not. See, the red, they say, is excitement and energy. And do you really want energy 24/7 in your classroom? No. I like that purple is all these things. I hated purple until I coached at Minarets. I walked around looking like a big old Barney. I had this big jacket. So ugly. Blue. What did you guys say?
It's like the same. We did the potential blue.
Trust, honesty, authority, serenity.
Intelligence. Yeah, I was talking about green, yeah, balance. I like to put royalty in the purple. That's, that's like a, royalty is such a, how would you like exemplify royalty like as an emotional?
Yeah, I want to exude that.
That's more like a quality, like that's why it's intriguing that's in there. Royalty as like a.
It is because our kids don't know what that is.
But how do you define that in like emotional, like, you know?
Because
acting royalty.
Proper, so it showed that you were wealthy.
Yeah, but like, like how do you act royal in a classroom?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I also like
with your staff, I guess.
I also think
everyone else.
Yeah, I like the orange.
I guess
because it's orange, and I taught at Central, and I'm a Giants fan. So, friendliness, rejuvenating, uplifting, and optimistic. So think about that, because I could think of a few places I would have liked to have used orange more, even though we were the Grizzlies. I would have loved to use purple in my classroom, never occurred to me. Although I'm sure there was purple up there somewhere.
Good color. Yeah, color complements.
So
they're right across from each other, so purple, purple and yellow, Christmas, and then blue and orange. So the Lakers, Christmas, and then blue and orange. Those are all color complements.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are also really.
Any comments other than what I've already rambled on about?
What about lighting?
Oh yeah.
Like I only flip on one light switch, and then I have a lamp that I turn on, and then like string lights.
That's probably a great idea with junior high, because I think you kind of can calm them down.
Yeah, and plus I get migraines from the lights. So
these lights are terrible, and if you have autoimmune, any kind of autoimmune, this can affect it too. So
I've definitely noticed like the students coming in, they're like, it's just so chill in here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because you guys need to chill out.
As long as they have the light they need to work.
Yeah.
You know, like I love the ambiance thing, and I love that the kids can walk in and feel, you know, comfortable and like they belong. But you just need to, you know, make sure they're not straining their eyes, because then you're going to get headaches also, but more stress headaches. Anybody else?
I have.
Yeah.
So at Taurus we have big windows, right? Like one wall is like a window. Some classes have floor to ceiling. I have like midway. So what I do is I have the lights off, and I will open 2 windows that gives them enough lighting. I've noticed that when I have all the lights on, they come in, 1, they're not used to it, and 2, they're like kind of crazy about it. So I don't know if that's like also like a thing, like kind of, you know, having all the lights on and it's like new to them, they get like, whoa.
They freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's that alone for a child that's not used to it is overstimuli.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean
the time of the day too.
Yeah.
In the morning, I have all the lights on.
Doors
open. If I don't,
they'll fall asleep.
Everybody's asleep.
I had 2 doors, which was really cool, and I would open both doors so that the air would come through. That ended when it was fly season, and I was at Central West, which was 2 times in the year. Yeah. And then we also had the snake issue too. Of course, they get that up there more. So ignore this because it was unreadable, so I put it over there, but I didn't know how to kill it. So San Bernardino County Probation Department uses bubblegum pink color to soothe and relax individuals who were behaving violently. Violent juveniles relax, stop yelling, and usually fall asleep quickly. I thought that was interesting. Bubblegum pink.
They should use it in all prisons then. Because like I've seen the opposite, like especially like in like the supermax prisons. It's like white, like blank white, you know.
Like institutional.
Yeah, institutional. Like that's the point of what they believe, right? Like,
Right, but if we're trying to
calm people down.
Calm them down. I mean,
they're trying to be optimistic here.
there is, you know, there was that one, not discussing his methods, but the guy from Arizona that put prisoners in pink, thinking that he was going to humiliate them. And it probably, in some weird way, if they were all wearing pink, if this is true,
Relax them.
Yep. And it takes away, I would think it would take away a lot of them throwing colors. Like, I don't know. But that could be, they could still get other stuff. Shoelaces, whatever. Calming colors, we've. Oh, I thought this was interesting. 17%. It will lower a child's blood pressure nearly 17% with calming colors. That's a lot. You too got to think, and this will come up multiple times, these kids go home and they're often either yelled at or ignored. You know, go do your homework, go fix dinner, go take care of your brother and sister. Not all, but I would be willing to bet that the majority of our kids have one of those experiences, or they have an older sibling raising them, or did raise them, or they're the one raising. But point being, there's probably not a lot of calm when they go home. You know, there's either an empty house, in which case they're a latchkey kid, they get too much quiet, or it's chaos at home. And then a lot of these kids have to wait and see, you know, who's going to be thrown in prison? Is it going to be an uncle, a friend? Who's been shot? I mean, these are all things that these kids, you know, cycle through. And if our room can be the calming place, like she said, or the place where they can walk in and be comfortable, that's what it needs to be. We didn't talk about bathroom. You want to do a break, or you want to just go through? Break or go through? Because you guys can go to the bathroom anytime you want. I mean, if all of you get up, we'll be a little suspicious of us. You know, in high school, this is a terrible story. In high school, I was so innocent, and we would go to parties.
Can I sit at the stretch?
Yeah. We would go to parties, and everybody would leave and go to the bathroom. And I'm like, what are they doing? All of them got to go to the bathroom at the same time? I didn't know they were doing cocaine, because I didn't do it. And I'm like, why did everybody leave? I didn't figure it out until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
I was so stupid, but it was during the 70s and 80s, so.
Now he's speaking.
Now it's speaking. Yeah, and Zannies. It's a link. Yeah, you can just hit the link, it'll take you on that.
On my hips like every couple hours.
Are you impressed that I can sit
Out of
down?
my house now? Yeah.
You guys can stand up anytime.
Thank you. I'm like,
Go to the bathroom anytime.
Alright,
I do
want
not
you
sit
to
down
read
fairly throughout the day.
real quick, the Fred Jones proximity and 3 rules of movement.
It printed, but it's not printed real well. Yeah, but you could also read out there if you can see it. Hey, the class that you pulled up was last year's, not this.
Last year's class and something?
Yeah. So this one, right? This one's right. But the other one that we did? This.
She just told us that she was
It's not
I know, I'm going to the doctor's for people on liquid. I know, I told them, you know,
HR's changing through your insurance. I would always put all the same. So I gotta do that. Well, I did do that. But you can still use your insurance, because even if the address is as long as you have to with there.
So it says, yeah.
I would want to.
Okay, yeah, I was like, that one has to be
When I go into it. So, okay, the mix 35 is okay.
I think I'm good.
all right. So what are the three zones? Red, yellow, and green. So what do the three zones mean?
The red means stop.
Red means that I'm pretty close to you, and the goofing off starts. Did you see how her physical behavior is? Just because I got close, right? When a kid is looking at their lap and laughing, we know they're on the cell phone because nobody looks at their lap and laughs. How many feet is the red zone?
Nearest feet.
Okay, about 3, 4, 6, maybe 6 feet. Okay, can you feel something different as I walk the room?
Yeah.
It feels different, doesn't it? Can I? If I had a clicker, I could keep on going. I could still keep on lecturing if I needed to. If I'm doing direct instruction, I can also check work. And we're going to teach you a couple other techniques based off of proximity. But here's what we know. Kids get paid to goof off. That's their job. They're going to try to figure out ways to entertain themselves. And the longer they're in the green zone, the more goofing off they're going to do. So 3 to 6 feet is the red zone. What's the yellow zone?
Caution.
About 6 to 10 feet. And that's where the student is doing this. Is she looking at me? She's not looking at me. She's not now. They know, right? They're paying attention to you and your eye contact. Okay. But what's going on way over there? Because now they're in the green zone. What does green zone mean? Free for all. Free for all. And here I'm going to give you a little teaser. You guys have hearts that are bigger than all outdoors. And you have a struggling student, right? So you just finished 10 minutes of direct instruction, and now it's independent practice, okay? And sure as the world, she raises her hand. She's always our hand raiser. She always raises her hand after and she calls me over. And so I come over to give her some help. And I'm looking away, and she doesn't understand. And I spend 10 minutes over here reteaching the lesson I just taught. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
And guys, you have a tendency to turn it off, to not hear it or be aware of there's chaos going over there. Now, a couple of things. One, okay, they're not on task, they're not learning. But two, what happens if Mr. Vivid walks in the room right there, the principal of the school? First thing you're over here, he's walking in, maybe even the door's over there, right? What's going to happen? They're writing up their informal observation. Students were off task and goofing off while you were up, and you're like, So, I'm going to tease you a little bit. I'm going to teach you a technique, I don't remember if it's next time or not, called praise, prompt, and leave, where you're going to come over and look. Oh, you're doing fantastic, honey. Make sure you look at step 2. I'll be back in a minute. And we leave.
Just
Now I
for
can walk
reference,
the
you
room.
probably shouldn't say honey.
Did I say honey? Oh, I see how old school I am? Sorry.
I was subbing and I kept saying, ladies and gentlemen, because I had said that back then, and I kept having to stop and correct myself. Like, I could get away with saying y'all, or, you know,
Wait, if you got to do it right, y'all only means a couple people. You got to go all y'all. That means everybody.
Well, yeah.
Anybody from Texas? You know
I don't know if I agree with you on that vernacular, but.
Okay, so a couple things. Have you noticed my room tent? I like to put these tables in groups. We separated them a little bit because of COVID, right? We're trying to compromise. But one thing have you noticed is I can walk the room. And in a few steps, flip this green zone back to red. And I don't even have to look at anybody over here. I don't have to come over and tap their desk. I don't have to make a scene. All I have to do is walk the room. You can manage your room, and I will tell you what, maybe 60% of your issues will go away if you walk the room.
Sorry.
Now we commented tonight that the room is kind of lopsided, right? Most of you are shifted over here. A couple of thoughts. One, I'm going to have a tendency to walk to this side of the room. 2, there is a dominant hand, and we tend to walk towards a dominant hand. 3, we tend to walk to students who are expressing interest in what we're teaching and giving us feedback. One of the things I would like for you to do during this semester is have somebody observe you, and all they do is move the pencil wherever you move in the classroom. And it will reveal a pattern of movement. And you'll find, perhaps, that all you're doing is moving right here. Standard 1 of the CSTP, California Standards for the Teaching Profession, says that engagement needs to be for all students. All students are learning. All students are engaged. But if I'm only walking right here, am I being equitable to everybody in the classroom? No. So it's something to be aware of. How do you walk the room? So we have the 3 zones, but we also have the physical makeup of the seating arrangement so that you can walk the room. What would happen, since most of you are high school and junior high, what would happen if I allowed students to sit against the back wall?
They tear up my wall.
They would tear up your wall.
Be playing games.
Right? And could you walk the back of the room?
No.
No. How unnerving is it if you're taking a test and the teacher's right here behind you? Right?
Pressure of someone breathing down on your neck.
And I'm not in their space, so to speak, but you don't know where I'm at, really, and what I'm doing, and what kind of work I'm looking at. And being unpredictable is a good thing. Okay? So that's the idea of the zones of approximation. We're going to exploit that this year. Okay? Here's a couple of ways to look at arranging your room. So if there's this interior loop that you can exploit and walk quickly. And if you don't have that, if you're still kind of stuck on traditional roads, what you think about. One thing is we're really moving towards more cooperative learning, right? So we want kids sitting in groups. But we also want to be able to walk the room and switch the zones quickly. Okay? So think about your room design. We were actually going to ask you to do that as part of your homework, is look at your room and then are you going to rearrange your room? Yes?
What if you share your room with multiple teachers and have no control over it?
Then, as they say, you're SOL.
Well, and there'll be other
we have
things
like
that you
4
can do.
teachers to a room.
And you
so.
can't, you're in a situation where you're not going to be able to do it.
Okay.
Right?
Just wanted to make sure.
You could find probably some other things that might help all of them.
Right. Yeah, we have like 4 teachers to a room,
Yeah.
and then our class is crammed too, so.
My youngest went there.
Oh, okay. So then you know.
Well, it wasn't in the new place though.
Oh, okay.
Is this my video? Wait, where are we?
What room number are you in? I got moved out of the library into room 4 this year. So I was in the library last year.
What's that?
This is one school's solution to the seating arrangement. And when you watch it, you can kind of see, might look familiar to some of you that are in elementary or junior high, but most of it, I just want you to look at the concepts less than who the students are. Because you know those rooms are way busier than a high school classroom. We've always had fun with this.
Space has completely elevated student engagement.
How do we provide the environments that kids need? Sometimes to be in their caves and be private, sometimes to be at the watering hole and working in small collaborative groups, and sometimes in cross-pollination where they're able to really share their work and work with each other.
My kids love to be under things, behind things, around things. We have 5-gallon buckets in my room that we sit on. We sit on crate seating that I made in my backyard out of a crate and some plywood and some foam. And I also just threw a lot of pillows on the floor. How string is that going to be?
This was pre-COVID,
Is that
so
something
you might want to think
important
of.
to your research? It might be important. From day one, I've said, you may sit anywhere you like as long as you're safe in our classroom.
That's fine.
That's working out really well. Keep on going.
We're really looking at how do we support kids working collaboratively. And we can't do it if we're isolated in rows and every kid's an island.
The first thing that has to happen is the teacher has to have a vision for their room and a willingness to say, I'm going to throw out some of this stuff. I don't need this traditional schooling equipment.
When you walk into a room that we have done, you'll see tables. You don't see individual student workspaces. In some classrooms, you'll see at least 3 kinds of seating. You'll see flexible bookshelves that are mobile that can be moved so that the room can be totally opened up, or little nooks and crannies can be created so that everybody can see everybody and we can participate as a community.
It helps plants grow.
How
I'm
can
going to
we
be curious
do
to
it
hear
on
feedback.
time? What we found is teachers are really hitting the streets the week that college kids leave town and seeing what they can buy for their classroom.
This is what I'd like you to accomplish today. Beginning of the year is a good time to ask if any of you have a couch or a chair that you have just sitting around. The kids would like to read on it, and it could be a reading corner. And that's how I started. And then it grew and grew because it was so successful. When the students walk in the room, I'll say, sit where you work the best.
When I get down into a couch and more comfortable, it's almost like it's a bit distracting. Like it's not exactly the environment I want to be working in, but for the other people, clearly they have their optimum working environments.
Miss Harris lets us choose, and also since she lets us choose, we ultimately choose what's best for us. We work better together and individually. Seeing the kids not only be a lot more engaged, but they seem happier, they seem more likely to engage in conversation.
Because the space in this room has evolved throughout the year, the students' work has improved immensely. Their grades have improved. Just the conversations that they have with each other are so invigorating to hear.
Okay, so I'm curious, what are some problems you saw to this?
Clutter.
What?
Clutter.
Clutter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very tight.
Not enough room to walk around.
And
Not
just-
enough room to walk around.
Emergency situations can be very, very like dangerous.
Yeah.
Cluttered.
Because you can't really leap over the desk.
I wonder how they teach. Like, okay, when you need the class to be quiet and all eyes on you, how do you get that? Like when they're sitting on a couch. Especially high school kids, you ain't sitting on a couch. I'm sorry, I don't trust you.
Part of the advantage is they only have 38 in their classroom, right?
Right.
25.
Yeah.
Like I have a class with just 17. Like I could see doing like some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then
Sure.
for my class of 37, they'd be on top of each other.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things was the pillows, which I think the pillows are awesome, but you'd have to get pillows that can be wiped down and aren't going to have fabric that's
soaking in all their sweat.
Yeah,
Pillow
germs.
fights.
Yeah.
So, we have a small school, we used to have couches, but we had to
Hey,
take
listen.
them out because they were a fire hazard. So we can't have like couches or chairs in our classrooms anymore.
Yeah, I got yelled at for that too.
I have one chair chair that I bought from Target, and that's their if they finish their assignment,
Privilege.
it's like towards the end of the thing, it's like, Misty, can I sit in the chair? And I was like, oh, go ahead, you're done.
And if that's easily cleaned, I'm
Yeah.
sure that you might be able to get away with that. I will tell you, I had a Papa-san chair in my class for a couple years until a group of teenagers decided to see how many of them could sit on it, and it just went. But then, sorry guys, it's gone now. But then I also had a chair, a swivel chair that I must have gotten from a garage sale or something. It was a long time ago. And they brought the drug dogs in, and the dogs alerted to my chair. And I was like, so the only thing we could figure out is it probably belonged to a frat house or something because it was so laden, and the dog handlers came out and they're like, hey, get alerted on your chair. Sure. All my secrets are out. No, just kidding. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. So I would be very careful about what you bring in. But I think one of my favorite things is the exercise balls that some of the kids could sit on. I mean, and there would have to be a set time for that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you still have to have your, hey, I need your eyes up here. And I would think that anything that was a nook and cranny, you'd have to eliminate when that time comes up. I mean, I don't know with high school kids if you could really have a hidden corner ever, so.
There's just not enough room for even the desks.
Right.
They got rid of the desks. I know at Webster Elementary School, 5th grade has this alternate, they got rid of the desks.
What?
What
So they
did?
have beanbag chairs, they
My son
have
goes-
stools, they have some recliners kind of things, and the exercise balls, and that's where the kids sit. But they don't have desks in the classroom, so you're right, it's one or the other, right? And what did you want to do with speed dating?
We could do it. Okay, so you're gonna have to be next to someone, or it needs to be even numbers. So you might want to. Yeah. And I want you guys to think of, before we do this with you, come up with 3 things that you think you could use in your classroom just from what you've heard today. And then, is it time?
No, fine.
Okay. I know who the trouble's gonna be. So think about what 3 things you could actually use, because, let's be honest, when you guys go to things like this, unless you're brand new and you're a sponge, there's gonna be things that you may have learned in your credential program or non-credential program or whatever, wherever you're at, that you might just go, I already knew that. But hopefully every time you leave here, you're gonna at least have 3 things that you could put into use put in your head, whatever. So what we're going to have you do is you're going to be paired up, and you're going to share that with the first person that you're paired up with. Then we're going to have you pick a different person. And you're not really dating, so don't get phone numbers. But just talk about the 3 things that you would take away. So let's start with the first group. Let me use my watch for something other than
From what I heard, you guys are suffering.
But no, I used to have
Ten seconds. All right, now, listen carefully. Now, whoever is youngest among you in your pairs has to stand up.
Wait, what?
The youngest person in your pair has to stand up. Do we have a triad back here? Do we have a triad back here? So we need 2 people to stand up. 2 people have to stand up. All right, y'all need to go find another seat real quick and find another partner.
You might need to introduce yourself if you don't know each other. So many people are meeting the... What did she say? What did she say?
It's like a couple lines that I tell.
Make sure you're with the new person.
I think we are. I have what the
Yeah, I have white. And my dad's white, and we're tossing out. Yeah, my mom's white. Are you from it?
I tried to
Give me a chair. 10 seconds. Okay, now looking at your pairs.
I mean, I would say
looking at your pairs, last pairing. The person with the longest hair has to stand up. Longest hair has to stand up.
so gendered.
Hey, some guys have long hair.
That's true. Not me. And you're sitting with 3 other females. What are you talking about? Find another pair. Find another person to pair up with. Last time. Find one more person to pair up.
Somebody new.
Someone you haven't sat with yet. Someone with short hair.
Alright, so I can really
Put all electronics on airplane mode. Alright, so what are some of your takeaways? What's something you want to think about?
The clutter on our table or whatever. Work area.
7th and 8th grade Howard clutter.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think for me it would be lighting. Like
Lighting.
you know the MTech windows, there's like a whole wall is the window. And so maybe like whenever I show videos, I turn off the light and it's still like super, like there's light everywhere. So whenever I turn them back on, the kids are like, no, like leave them off. So I might experiment with maybe putting it halfway to where there's some natural light, but they're also like, they can still work because they have light from above.
And that's what the studies are saying, is that natural light's the best light. Good. So clutter, lighting, one more.
I'm gonna do my bulletin. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to go? So I feel like in my classroom, like on the walls, like I'm good as far as color, but I think I want to be more like specific in my color choice when I do like slides and stuff.
Oh, there you go. We can control that for sure, right?
Yeah.
Right. Good. What were you gonna say?
I think my walls, I know I have one wall that has this cutesy paw print wallpaper. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little distracting, but it's so cute. But I know it might be distracting for the kids.
I mean, if it's consistent, like if it's just like
it's just one wall
pattern, I
where
feel
they have like their
it's
contract.
not too bad. I think it's when you have like a lot of really different.
Yeah, it's really cute.
All right. So you'll be happy to know we're almost done. Look at that, right on time. We got 10 minutes. We're going to talk about the homework. It will be posted either tomorrow, which if it's me posting it, it won't be tomorrow because I have cognitive coaching training tomorrow.
Well, it'll be tonight or tomorrow.
Or the next day. So we're going to get in there. And then you're all in the classroom, so make sure that happens. Jen's going to tell you what the homework is. And then I have feedback we'd like to get from you about tonight's session. It's anonymous, but you'll see a QR code in 2 minutes. If you'll zap it with your phone and fill it out, we appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you, and we'll see you next time.
So, homework. The video, is in Classroom. So you'll be able to click it there. The 2 articles are linked. And then after you've done the 3, read and watched the video, just write a quick paragraph. Okay, there's 2 different things. This one, that he wants to make sure that whatever changes you've made, you tell us about them and just jot them down real quick and give us some information about what you do, did it work, that kind of thing. But there's also another one that you will see in the classroom right now, or when I post it.
Click the next slide.
Oh. No? There we go. There's these 2 articles. Basically, all homework should, emphasize what you did the day, so that's what we're doing. After you do, in a paragraph minimum, share what you've taken from this information. I would assume 1 or 2, maybe more. And if you want, you can just combine that paragraph with any changes you've made so that there's not a lot of extra. I thought I might have done that in Google Forms, but maybe not. So if you just upload it, Google Docs up to...
We'll make a Google Doc for it. We'll do that.
We will? Okay. And that's it. Any questions about the homework? Hopefully you'll feel that it's applicable. And then there's an eval. If you'll do it before you leave, that would be great.